First things first, welcome in or welcome back to the channel. My name is Grin and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. A little while back I decided to sell my bank to buy a twisted bow and do a rebuild. After making a few hundred mil and getting a couple new pets, I've decided to sell my twisted bow back and buy a bunch of different items that will help me grind a variety of content to make max cash. Let the grind begin. I wasn't entirely sure how to start this series, but I knew I was going to, obviously the whole point of it is for me to sell my T-bow and then buy just other standard gear, and I'm going to grind for max cash, doing whatever money makers I please and making however much money I make in every episode. But I knew I wanted to get both, get the BOFA, so that's why I bought the enhanced crystal weapon seed and 6 crystal armor seeds so I can actually make all of the armor. And I bought 8 enhanced crystal teleport seeds so I can turn them into crystal shards to obviously make everything and maybe corrupt the BOFA. I'm not entirely sure, but I bought the rest of the things I need to combine with the things I have in the bank to have max mage, other than the new gloves that have come out. So I do think I'm going to fully charge the shadow, which will bring me just under 200 mil cash stack. But with the BOFA, with Bando's gear, I might switch this out for the face guard. And I might switch these out for prims. Not entirely sure. I might wait until the new delve boss just came out, which is why gear is fluctuating so much. But I might, once the combined boots have come down, figure out how you go about buying that and making the combined boots. Not entirely sure where this is headed and what the first moneymaker I'm going to do is, but I am excited to go ahead and try some things out that I haven't gotten to do for a while, because I was doing the T-bow rebuild, and I'm excited to be able to do some other chill things and just show all the different ways that I really enjoy making money. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get all this crystal armor as well as the BOFA made and fully charge the shadow, and then maybe buy a couple of the spec weapons, because right now I don't have any, and see how much money I end up having at the end of it. And that'll kind of be the jumping off point from the series, and that'll tell us just how much more money I need to make before I get a full max cash in coins. After looking up exactly how to charge the shadow, I decided to just start buying stuff for it now, because the buy limit does not allow you to buy it all. And I know I could go to the Scar or whatever and make the runes, but I really don't feel like it. So I just put the offers in. I'm just gonna let them buy as it is and come back to it later. And in the meantime, I will do a different money making method that I won't need to use the shadow for. But before I go ahead and start making any money, I still do need to go ahead and make the crystal armor as well as the BOFA. Upon further inspection, looking at my bank, this top part of my first tab where I keep most of my gear doesn't really look terrible, but as you scroll down, it just dissolves into random nonsense. And this loot tab I think is going to have to go, because starting this new series, and this really should all just be cleared out to make way for new stuff, and I can organize the loot as I get it, so I can make a really nice loot tab. And then I think what I'm going to do, just to save some time to start actually doing something, is I'm going to take my random crap, the Shazian equipment and random stuff like that, and just huck it in this tab, because I put on my skill capes and all that in this tab, as well as other random sets of gear, and just maybe organize this a little bit as well. And I should probably organize my magic tab, and also my bird run, my farm run, my teleport tab, although I don't use it too much. I just usually use the rune pouch to teleport around. But my potion tab still looks kind of all right, so I don't need to worry about this too much. But this could definitely use an overhaul. If you are unfamiliar with how crystal armor works, you need crystal shards to make them, and you take the crystal armor seeds over to a singing bowl. There are a couple of them in Prifddinas. I always end up using this one because it's the one I've always thought of, but there is another one right here. And basically what you do, if you do not have enough crystal shards, is you buy enhanced crystal teleport sword seeds, because you can go to Amrod here and you can trade the enhanced crystal teleport seeds for the crystal shards. Apparently, I did not look hard enough, and the amount of crystal shards I had was nowhere near enough to corrupt the Bofa as well as make the crystal armor and everything I wanted. So I just went and dropped like another 24 mil on getting more eternal teleport seeds, whatever they are. the thing that lets you teleport to Prifddinas. And my smithing level is too low to corrupt the Bofa because you need 82. So I went ahead and bought a Kovacs Grog so that I can go ahead and do that because it'll boost me up to 84. I could have bought a boost that gives less, but I don't like feeling rushed. So I bought this one so I could take my time and chill with it. So yeah, see, now this option pops up. I can corrupt it, which is going to cost a lot of shards. Oh, okay, so that leaves me with 1100 something left, but I'm going to go ahead and make the armor. The next thing to do, in my opinion, after you've created all of your crystal armor, other than, I guess, just use it, is if you have the money, you should go here and pick a color, because you can dye your crystal armor like any of these, 7 colors, and it really adds a little bit of customization to it that I do enjoy because, oh wait, there's 8 colors. I didn't see this little blue one down here, but let me know in the comments what your favorite color is to dye your crystal armor if you've already done it. And even if you haven't, what would be your favorite? I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to go for. I do like the red, so I might just go for black. But like this way I get like a red and black combo, but I'm not entirely sure. I might just go for red and just be fully red. But I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with it and figure out what I really like. I ended up going with red to match the corrupted Bofa, and I'm going to go buy a pair of the Zamorak D'hide boots to match it. So I got the full red outfit. Literally just changed my mind. Oh, I'm going to, where am I going? I got to go over here. I literally just changed my mind. I'm actually going to go with this dark blue one. I'll just buy 3 of them. But the reason why I'm switching to this dark blue one is because I think that with the Ava's assembler on the back of this, it's going to look really strange. So if I go with the blue one, take all this off, although the blue won't match the Bofa very well, as you'll see shortly, it still looks pretty good. I like the dark blue with the little light blue like lines that cross through it, but this is what I'm going with. And instead of buying these Zamorak boots, I'll buy these Saradomin boots. They're a little bit cheaper anyways, although I definitely wasted more money than I'm saving with the boots just by rebuying these crystals, because I believe they're 300k a piece. So still definitely didn't save any money. But after I eventually get the assembler like recolor that you get from TOA, I'm probably going to come back and actually change all of the armor to black, so that then I have the black and yellow combination, and I think it'll like look way better at that point. All right, the last bits of gear I decided to buy for now, I think, is just this year, as well as the Dragon Hunter Lance, Primordial Boots, and the Basilisk Jaw. The reason why I'm buying both of these is because I can turn the Basilisk Jaw into the Neotisnot face guard, and with those two things combined, depending on where, like how my gear is shaking out, I might get 2 max hits, but I'll definitely get 1 max hit on like pretty much everything, which isn't a ton, but I also didn't want to have like a stupid amount of money left over in the bank so that like I end up only having to make like 2 bill instead of almost all of max cash. Like if I had like 140 mil sitting in the bank, I wouldn't have felt quite right starting out the series. So I think once all of this is bought, I'll go ahead and deposit it and then like reorganize this tab after. But I was thinking I would be left at about 40 mil. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and purchase a ton of supplies, because I don't want to have to worry about any of this for at least a few episodes, maybe 4 or 5, while I'm grinding a bunch of stuff. I can just come here and keep banking and buy, and like not have to revisit the GE to buy more supplies very shortly after starting the journey. So I was wrong on that being the last piece of gear I wanted to buy, because I actually wanted to buy the Bandos Godsword because I did not have one anymore. And I'll add that into the bank, and I think the loot tab looks pretty nice. I was thinking about going ahead and getting a Berserker ring imbued again, but honestly, for a lot of the content I plan on doing, I don't think it's really going to be all that helpful. Like, even when I go to Vorkath, I'm probably just going to bring the light bearer and BGS spec it before doing the kill. So really don't need the Berserker Ring of Butte anymore. At least I don't see the reason why I will need it. Maybe you guys can clue me in onto one that I am just being stupid and not seeing. But that leaves me with just over a 20 mil cash stack, as I did stock up on some supplies. I got quite a few potions. I definitely could have more, but I think this will last me for a little bit. As well as I bought more of these solid foods that I wanted, and I did clean out the loot tab. There was a bunch of junk still left in here, as well as a bunch of just empty spots. But I released all of them and sold off whatever I had, but it was only more like 400k more worth of GP that was in here. But so all that's left in here now is the clue related stuff, the things that I can't really get rid of, as well as just some other like stackable things that I'm just going to keep in the bank, and I'll reorganize some of it as I start to get drops. But I think it's finally time to go on into the first little moneymaker I plan on doing, just because it's something I can kind of AFK while I work on some preparations for my D&D game this weekend. The first thing I'm going to do while I wait for the runes to buy in the bank and while I work on D&D stuff is I'm going to go ahead and run over to Rune Dragons. With this gear setup, it should be very AFK. The only thing that's really going to damage me much at all is going to be the lightning, because I'm not really going to be paying attention to it. But for those of you that do not know, you need the insulated boots to help like limit the amount of lightning damage you take. And how I get there is going to be really simple. I just use the dig site pendant because I've completed, obviously, Dragon Slayer 2. Use the Lithcrin one, and it brings you to this room here. You run down these stairs, and then you go through these big old doors right here. And if you really want to, you can sip a stamina before you leave the bank, but it really feels quite unnecessary as you go ahead and run over here. And there are all of these rune dragons just chilling on in here. I'm not sure what, well, actually, you know what, this will definitely be better. I was gonna say maybe the Dragon Hunter wand will be better here after all of the changes come through, because there's a bunch of changes that are happening with all of that stuff, and with all of the like metallic dragons. But I think as far as an AFK setup goes, this is still definitely going to reign superior over it. The first trip is done, and as you can see, with really just average loot, nothing crazy here, I made pretty much 260k, and after the low supply costs, honestly, even with only doing like 6 to 7 trips an hour at the Rune Dragons, you're still looking at like 1.5 to 1.7 mil per hour after the supply cost. So really not too bad, and it's kind of a nice way to start out the loot tab, because other than like really big drops that you get from other monsters that like are the sole purpose you're grinding them for, like Vorkath, they drop a lot of consistent things and a lot of runes as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and lock this slot here, and I'll actually lock this one as well, but I'll deposit everything else. All right, so after killing about 230 rune dragons, I think it's actually 229, I actually reset the loot tracker after killing 18, because I wanted to kind of just like clean this out before I started all of this grinding towards a max cash stack. But what I've decided I want to do in this first episode, I think, is just go around and kill a couple different bosses for like an hour, and kind of just get a bunch of random stuff in the loot tab, because then once I actually organize the loot tab, I won't have to reorganize it again for a while if there's just a ton of random stuff in there. And the first like actual boss I've decided I want to do is, I've been just in the mood to do some Vorkath, which is nice, because when you're in the mood for Vorkath, you should definitely do it, because it is just stupidly easy, good money. And if we go to the collection log and I come all the way down here to the end somewhere, I've killed 1,891 Vorkath, so I'm probably not going to take this right to 2,000 right now. I'm probably just going to do about an hour of it and just get whatever random drops I get. But as you can see here, I've gotten the Draconic Visage. I would love to get a Skeletal Visage. What are those even worth right now? Skeletal Visage, 12.2 mil. That would be a fat boost to add to the loot tab right away, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. But it would be nice to see maybe any of the other collection logs, and especially if I get the pet. I mean, I'd have to give away a couple bonds, but that's totally okay. Finally. Oh my god, that took me so many more tries than it really should have, especially with the gear I have. But finally, my first 350 done, which means I believe I get the thing to modify the Ava's assembler. No purple, but that's okay. Only 5.56% chance. Fourth raid of the day. And yes, the Masori crafting kit. Yes. And actually a pretty decent drop. For some reason, the blood essence are super expensive right now. And the 10 Raynar seeds also over 300k, which is nice because I died 3 times trying to do this. So I'm already down 1.5 mil doing that, let alone all these supplies and the charges. You know, this thing was at 20k. I've pretty much used 1,000 already, only completing 4 raids, which is pretty bad because you, at least in my experience, you only use like 160 per raid. So the fact I've only done 4 and I've used 1,000 is pretty rough. But I am so excited to get it, and the clan is actually kind of popping off, which is pretty nice. Time to go use this thing. Oh wait, I didn't claim the items. Let's go over here and claim my rewards. Actually, I'm just too excited and actually talking about it. Am I able to use it just from this, or do I need like a need a needle? Sorry, choked on my own spit there. All right, give me a needle. Give me a needle. Needle 1. All right, come on. Wait. Oh, wait a minute. I'm being dumb. Here we go. Yes, the Masori assembler looks so nice, but that means I need to go ahead and actually recolor my crystal armor because now it looks awfully silly with this backpack. So that's the plan. This is what I ended up deciding on. Really, I tried the yellow first, thinking it would match this bit of yellow here, but they're just so off, and the yellow looks like see-through almost in a weird way. So I ended up going with black to sort of match the rest of the bag, and then I sold my Saradomin D'hide boots to get the Zamorak one so that it at least matched the Bofa itself because it's corrupted, and I think it looks pretty good. I am so glad to have that done. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the night, but I might just go ahead and AFK some Rune Dragons. I know for many of you that are way better than me at this game, doing a 350 is like nothing, and it's totally like you do even more than that just to chill, but for me, that took me a few tries, and I'm glad to have it done, and it feels like a little mini accomplishment for me. Honestly, because I was enjoying TOA so much, I thought I would end this episode on a purple, but I think I'm going to end it here. Getting that crafting kit was really nice, and I also spent a little time to organize the things that I already have in the bank. Oh no, I screwed up. There is a long sorted place. I'll figure that little bit out right here, but I have the caskets and stuff organized up here, and then the other things that I think we can stack up really high throughout the series, I've kind of got chilling at the top in an order that roughly makes sense to me. And once we get down here at the bottom, there's a couple random things that I've just acquired, and obviously all this stuff's still going to shift around as I get more and more drops from different bosses, but at least it looks a little bit better and a little bit more organized right now. But as you can see, 12 mil already. It's not a terrible amount to make in an episode, but I definitely had a lot I had to do in this episode as far as like getting the gear, running around. I AFK'd a lot of Rune Dragons just thinking of quite what I wanted to do. And where I ended up going isn't even where I planned. I just randomly decided to do some TOA, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm probably just going to go back there and grind some out. And maybe I'll get lucky and get a couple purples in the next episode. And maybe we'll pull something nice. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please subscribe. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.